When I was young, I remember watching a film about a man in Africa who literally lived with lions, tigers, and panthers. They were outside, inside, he was cuddling them, walking amongst them, even trying to break up fights between the animals. Was this man, whose name is Hank, crazy?
The cat's got a little excited, that's all. Oh.
Now the story or plot of the film is that this man has a wife and 3 kids who live in America. They come to visit him, and for reasons I'll talk about later, they miss each other at the airport on arrival. While Hank is on his way to the airport to pick them up, his family have already arrived and are making their way to the house. So, the family arrive at the house and are greeted by an onslaught of lions and tigers. To escape these wild animals, they hide in barrels, lockers, and refrigerators because in their terror, they seem to lose their rational minds as they navigate their way through this horrifying situation. Hank encounters all sorts of problems getting to the airport. First his boat sinks, and then he borrows some bike from one of the African tribes and eventually decides to go the last stretch alone. Worried that the 2 tigers that followed them will get shot this far from home, he gets his friend Mativo to sit in a tree dangling a shirt to keep the 2 tigers occupied so Hank can get to the airport quicker. As Hank puts it, they're not trained tigers, they're just friends. Now Mativo is up that tree all night as Hank returns to him the next morning in a car that he has borrowed, realising his family are at his house with his 4-legged occupants.
They must be in the house already. They took the bus yesterday.
Hank is worried that his beloved lions may well be eating his family, then drives along a dangerous road, ignoring Mativo's advice to slow down due to the condition of the road, and soon enough blows out one of the tyres. The family spend the night in a room with the door left open so the lions or whoever else can come in and join them for a sleep. When they wake up, they realise if the animals wanted to hurt or kill them, they would have done so while they were asleep. They must be friendly.
I don't think they're trying to hurt us at all.
And we've totally misjudged these animals. Hank finally arrives. 2 of the lions have it out with each other, and apart from pushing him into a river, completely forgive Hank for the nightmare that he's put them through. At least 70 people were injured during production, including Melanie Griffith and Tippi Hedren, who had her ankle fractured when getting picked up by an elephant who really hates boats. Jan de Bont was scalped and required 220 stitches to his head. Apparently turnover was quite high as many were so freaked out by what was happening. It took 5 years to shoot on a budget of $17 million. Raw had its official premiere in Sydney, Australia in 1981. Raw did not get a theatrical release in the United States until 2015. I first saw Raw on television in 1984 and was amazed at the sight of people interacting with these dangerous animals. Because I recorded Raw on my VHS recorder, I watched it many times throughout the 1980s. So much that I wore the tape out and re-recorded the film when it was shown again on the 1st of January 1990. Unfortunately, Channel 10 cut one scene from the film so that it would fit into a 2-hour time slot. It was very important that Prototype, the 1983 science fiction film starring Christopher Plummer, started on time. I mean, that would lead to a terrible domino effect that would have thrown out a repeat of Neighbours, Double Dare, Monsters Today, and the Best of Perfect Match. What a calamity. Well, it was released on DVD in 2003 and was non-anamorphic widescreen. That was pretty weird for 2003, and disappointing, because I had a widescreen TV that looked like this. It literally took 3 people to lift it. What struck me about the DVD was that there were scenes cut out of the film, quite a few scenes. Particularly one scene where Hank's family arrived at the airport and they realised that Madeline, played by Tippi Hedren, told Hank that they were arriving at 8 PM, when in fact they arrived earlier at 8 AM. That scene is the explanation as to why Hank is not there, and without it, the viewer does not know the reason as to why Hank misses them at the airport. In 2015, Raw was released again on DVD, and this time Blu-ray. It will be remastered and given the treatment it deserves. I was excited by this and hoped the film will contain all the scenes that were on my VHS copy. Well, it was anamorphic and looked and sounded great, but it was the same cut version. This was obviously the official version of Raw. What was going on? I tried to find information online about my extended version. What was the reason for this? I finally found out that there is a Blu-ray for Raw in Germany, and it cites itself as an extended version. This version is known as the International Cut. Great! I purchased it, and when I watched it, it indeed had the extra scenes. But even though the film was in English, when the extra scenes came on, this happened.
Ich sehe aber nicht so blutverschmiert aus, wenn ich noch so viel Hunger habe.
Naja, Sie tragen keine Serviette beim Fressen. Und
Yes, all the extra scenes are dubbed into German, and there's no way to change it into English. Is this a mistake? It's quite bizarre to watch a film in English and then occasionally have some scenes that are in German.
einmische, dann darf man nicht verwundert sein, wenn ich mir mal ein Ding einfange.
So I decided to take my VHS version and try and match up the dialogue with the Blu-ray. My own little restoration, if you will. The first extra scene that American audiences didn't get, which I think is the most important missing scene, is here.
I wired that we'd be arriving on the 12th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m.? Don't you mean 8 a.m.?
Oh, no, Mom. Dad thinks we're coming tonight, not this morning.
Oh, shit.
This is another extra scene where Hank is explaining the motives of the hunters, who we will get to meet in the next scene.
Watch out for Prentice and his two friends from the game control. This week they have culled over 200 elephants in a big culling program.
Well, there was sure no need for that. The government just keeps taking the animals' land, and then Prentice and Game Control keep claiming there are too many
He's
animals.
got me!
Say hello to Tiger Murr. Prentice is just using the whole situation as a scheme to kill the animals for their hides and ivory.
Why are the big ones fighting today?
Well, it's that rogue Togar came in, and he's got them all riled up.
How guys here?
He'd like to be a part of the group, but he really doesn't know how to go
If you are
about it.
still fighting and hanging around here when the committee comes, you won't get your grant, I'll tell you that. Toga will spoil everything for you. Then you can't help your family or your animals.
How are you and your antelope doing?
As long as we stay away from your cats, we'll be all right.
This is Hank explaining why Togar the lion is so bloody.
But why is Toga always so dirty and bloody?
Well, they're all messy eaters. It's he doesn't have anybody to help clean him.
Here comes trouble. It's a grand committee. Look at that.
They sure picked a bum time to come in with Madeline and the kids landing tonight.
The pride, so that he would better understand the behavior of the cats in the wild.
You should have been in our meeting this morning. The whole committee is behind him.
We've just come to congratulate him.
This is all information that enhances the story, in my opinion.
This could become known as Africa, the land of tigers and
My
lions.
favourite
Say hello
line.
to Henry the Jaguar, would you?
Not today.
In this scene, Hank explains his relationship with the lions while having his hand in a lion's mouth.
What tongues would they have? You could if they knew you and you knew them.
What about that hoe you have in your hand?
Hey, you're gonna hurt my hand, jerk. Come on, be careful. Yes. Well, that's part of it. No, if I'm gonna mix in their fights, then I've got to expect it. But notice, you don't see any whips or chairs around. Those things are great until you put down your whip. If I want them to trust me, right? Then, ow! Oh, if I want them to trust me, I gotta live or die by their rules.
And who are you going to sleep with when Madeline gets here? You're not going to expect her to sleep with the lions, are you?
What do you care if I sleep with my wife?
Oh, they're pushing me.
This does not even seem scripted, while Mativo is struggling to remember his lines.
You'll be sleeping with the lions?
Oh, yeah, this is Mark.
And she'll be lying in bed alone, reading a book by herself and wondering, heck, what went wrong with this man? Oh.
Watch the line at the bottom of the screen.
Well, what do you...
That would be the worst on-screen injury in the film, and it's not in the US version.
Now, don't say anything, okay? I don't want to hear it. If you're my friend, you won't say anything.
But you haven't let me help you, okay? All right, come on.
That's George. I'm just getting to know him. It's a little difficult at first.
This scene explains why Hank is in Africa without his wife and children. Madeline does go on to to also say that they had problems and should be apart for a while.
Mom, how come you didn't leave for Africa with Dad?
Well, I had to wait for you and Melanie to finish school.
You could have stayed alone.
Yes, and that's the last time either one of you would have attended class.
You don't trust us, Mom.
This deleted scene shows Hank delivering a couple of lion cubs to a lioness.
There's any kind of cub. I'll be right back.
Hurry up, it will be dark before you get to the airport.
They may be lost lion cubs, as it's not really explained as to why he's doing this, but it's giving us a look into some of the things that Hank does, and it's another scene which gives us information about a character that's not in the US cut.
Letters. Hey, how's little Jason and Jennifer?
Good boy, kids.
When the family arrives close to Hank's property, the international cut has a scene between the two sons, John and Jerry, who start fighting with each other.
It's just that white rhinos aren't really white. It's slang for wide mouth. Like if you were known for your most dominant trait, ugly, you'd be an ugg.
Oh, isn't that adorable? You can show me what you learned in your karate class? You gonna show me lesson 3 or lesson 5?
What?
You do your karate dance with me, I'll smash your head in with a rock.
Both of you! Stop it this minute!
John attempts karate on Jerry. He explains why John does a karate move when Jerry surprises him later in the film. Again, information missing from the US version. Am I starting to sound like a broken record? The scene where Togar is chasing the family through the house, smashing his way through doors, we have a moment where Jerry grabs a rifle with possible intention of shooting Togar. The gun goes off and it cuts to Robbie the Lion entering the house to take on Togar. In the US cut, the audio is badly mixed as you can hear the cut. It omits one shot of Jerry pointing his gun at Togar. Why this was taken out is a mystery to me. Later that night, the family are in the house discussing their predicament. Half this scene is cut for the US release, and unfortunately the entire scene was cut by whoever at Channel 10, I guess, so it would finish by 2 o'clock. So much to my frustration, I can't replace the German audio, so we'll just have to put up with this.
Ihr wolltet doch genauso wie ich weg aus Chicago.
Aber wir wussten ja nicht, was uns hier erwartet.
Keine Bange, kommt schon alles wieder ins Lot.
Na, hoffentlich hast du recht. Komm, mein Liebling, ruh dich ein bisschen aus.
As we head to the end of Raw, and Hank finally gets back to the house and reunited with his family, there are no longer cutscenes. So, which version is better? Without doubt, it's the international cut. The US cut runs at 94 minutes and the international cut runs at 101 minutes. 7 minutes makes all the difference for understanding the madness that you're sitting through. The international cut just makes a few plot points clearer. We understand why Hank doesn't know the family arriving in the morning, the motivations of the hunters, a little more about what Hank is doing in Africa, and I have no idea what they're saying here.
Die Tiere waren aufgeregt durch einen Löwen, der nicht zum Rudel gehört, ein Einzelgänger.
So I'll be watching the international cut that I've glued together, even though it's got this bit.
Hör auf, so hysterisch zu sein, Menschen.
And remember, organise protests in front of stores that sell wild animal skins, furs or ivory. Show your disgust with anyone. Is this really at the end credits? Really? and please report video piracy to Noel Marshall, Acton, California. Oh crap.
Not today.